I'm back!
And so am I.
Well, what have we got today? Well, we've got something completely different. And some people might say that, well, that's nothing to do with guitars and music, and unfortunately, they'd be wrong. This is the Sound Blaster X4 external sound card.
Now, if you're used to using cards like these, that's so yesterday, man. I mean, with these, at least you can, use laptops or gaming PCs or whatever you want.
Ah, so today we're going to have a real close-up of the Sound Blaster X4 external sound card. Man, I remember Creative Labs from years and years ago. These are some of the leaders in the sector. We're going to look really close. Now, I do want to get this out of the way first. It's not often that we actually review a product that's been sent to us for free to review. This is one of them, though. Creative reached out and said, hey, how'd you like to review this? And I thought, well, why not? It's something different, and it's still music related in many, many ways, as you'll get to find out as we go through the review. You'll also hear, if we can master it, the audio section later down in the video, which should be interesting. But we're also going to take a quick look inside at the quality. We'll cover the warranty, the manual, all the usual things that you might want to know about this product before you buy it.
Well, my brother actually is a fanatic on gaming and stuff.
Tell me about it, man.
So, this thing right here, I mean, he doesn't really have a clue on sound.
No.
So, this thing here probably would be pretty good for him.
Yeah, right. Bit of an improvement.
Pretty much so, yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to get down to it. We're going to have a look at what you get in the box, like an unboxing, and then we're going to take a quick look inside to see what's really inside this thing, because when you're on products like this, a lot of the inside components can, well, be a make or a break. So let's get a bit closer. What do you say?
I agree, yeah.
He agrees. Okay, well, this is what you get, and this is how it's presented. All very nice. Let's flip it out of the box and see what you've really got. Well, you get the unit itself. You get a read me first. And what else is in here? Oh yeah, this looks great. Cables. Revolutionising audio from Sound Blaster. Bit of info. Manual, sort of. Limited warranty. Good to know you've got a warranty document. We'll be looking at that later. Getting started with SmartComms kit, so it comes as a kit. It's even got a light pipe in there. And a couple of these. And don't chew them, will you? Okay, well, this is how it comes. It's a nice chunky thing, by the way. It's not one of these sort of flimsy things that you see kicking around. This one's got a bit of substance to it. Sound Blaster X4 SX FI, which we'll come to later. We've got loads of connections around the back, but we'll come back to that later too. And we've got a couple of inputs too at the front, or outputs. Yeah, so what I want to do is to open this thing up to see what we can see inside it. Let's do that first. Well, here we are. And to get this thing apart is pretty easy. Just undo the little tabs off the feet and the screws underneath. And then the bottom just pulls off. Like so. And one of the things I like to see is this. This is the back. It's got this big chunk of metal inside, and some people might be asking why that is. Well, I'll tell you about that in a little while. Next, you might want to just pry off the big knob. Yeah, quite surprising how weighty this one is too. And after a quick pull at the front, it sort of prizes off. And the board will lift out. Before we actually get any further, what I'm going to do is just disconnect this connection here. And that all relates to the big knob at the top and how that works. It isn't like you might imagine. And there, my friends, is Creative Labs X4 board, where we're going to have a look closer. Well, here we are showing you the Sound Blaster, or the Creative Sound Blaster from Creative Labs, as it says very nicely on the board there. The X4, yeah, as you've never seen it before, and I always think it's important to have a look at the quality inside, and I expected the quality on Creative products to be, well, particularly good, and you know what, I'm not really that disappointed. There are some things, of course, that you might consider to be problematic later down the road or not, but let's face it, it's not that expensive a device, and if you're going to get anything fail in a number of years, it could be the capacitors, because capacitors are known to fail over time. So they'd be the first thing to look at if you wanted to fix one of these, maybe. Or alternatively, it could be any one of these connections that are soldered to the board that you might be able to buy or get from somewhere or source or not. And you've got the center control knob, which is also mounted to the board, as you can see. Nothing wrong with any of that, it's all pretty standard stuff really. But I really want to come in and focus on a few of these chips. We'll have a look now quickly, and we'll maybe discuss quickly when we go back up top some of these chips and what they do and that sort of thing. But you can rest assured that the quality inside the unit is exceptionally good. Okay, well, we'll have a quick rundown on what these are. This one's called an N52810. Not entirely sure what that does, but we'll have a look a bit later on down the road of that, I'm sure. The next thing in line is this one shrouded by all these capacitors here. And this one is our old friend Cirrus Logic. It's a CS5345 CQZ. And again, we'll cover that a bit later. Moving on a bit further, we've got another, believe it or not, Cirrus Logic chip right there. That's a CS4382 ACQZ, I think. And again, we'll talk in general about Cirrus. Of course, the mummy of all of them, or is it the daddy? Well, it's one of them. Here it is, it's an X-Fi Ultra DSP. CUD SP600 with a few more digits at the end of it. I don't know how much information I'll find out about that, but we'll be taking a look at that because that is the digital signal processor. Next in line, just below it, is this tiny little chip that every time I turn the camera it turns around so I can't read it. So this is a XT25F64B-S. Not sure what that is, but there you go. And that completes a quick rundown of the chips on board. So what we're going to do is put this back together, and then we can have a quick chat about the chips. I'm not spending all day on them, I just want to show you the quality and some of the technology that's gone inside this unit and what you're really getting for your money, as opposed to just some guy talking about specifications and it doesn't mean anything. In this review, you can actually see the products and see what they're made of and look at that warranty and quality and all the rest of it. There you go, and for all you guys that insisted we'd never get it back together, there's a quick shot. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick look around the unit itself now and just show you the inputs and outputs and the buttons and the knobs and all the rest of it. Well, here we've got a microphone input, and here we've got a headphone input. They are those little 2.5 or 3.5 jack sockets, but don't hold it against it, that's just live. Let's have a look around the back. Okay, a quick look across the back here. We've got some outputs. These are all line out level. You've got a front, a side, a rear, and C sub. And all of these basically handle all that high-res 7.1 Super X-Fi USB DAC type of output. Yeah, well, the USB's further over, to be fair. The point is that this is 24-bit, 192 kilohertz in its high-res mode, and all the rest of it. Anyway, move along a bit further. We've got a line /OPT in. You can see it there. And we've got an OPT out, which is really one of those type of light pipe type of things. And they do supply that light pipe connector with the unit, which is pretty useful. We've also got a USB, looks like a USB-C to me, that does. Which is great to see, rather than the old stuff that a lot of people are still fitting on their devices that they're selling. And yeah, USB-C and the rest is the way forward. You start getting some proper compatibility and actually a connector that works. Okay, here's the top of the Sound Blaster X4, the SX-Fi product. There's its big knob, the one that you can adjust for most things. And we've got a few buttons down here. We've got an audio balance for the mic. We've got the type of mode that it's working in. We've got direct mode. That's a button. And then we've got this line out /HP for the SX-Fi or SX-FI. You might say it either way. Yeah, not a lot else to say about that. Now, you might not be able to read that much on this particular unit, but this actually does have a UK CA stamp. It's got CE, it's got ROSH compliance and all the other things like FCC and the rest of it that you might want to know about, and I think that's very important these days because safety and quality and all the rest of it all go together really in my book. And there you go. So it meets all the required standards of hearing 2022 and soon to be applied on 2023. There, that's better. Here we are back up top. So what we're going to do is chat about those chips for just a few seconds. The important bits, the DACs and the things like that. And then we'll be back. Anybody who doesn't want to see that section can just flip ahead from the menus down below. Don't forget to look in the text because there's always quite a lot of information. The first chip is from Nordic Semiconductors. It's NRF52810. It's a Bluetooth 5.2 SoC or System on a Chip. This has got a protocol support for Bluetooth LE, including high-speed 2 megabit features. It also supports ANT and 2.4 gigahertz proprietary protocols. It's an extremely powerful, efficient chip, and it's their smallest SoC, together with the NRF52811 and F2 and NRF52805 SoCs. It's approximately 2.48 by 2.46 millimeters in size, and it's a surface mount product. Okay, this is the Cirrus Logic CS5345 CQZ. Cirrus Logic is known for A to D converters, analog to digital converters. They provide solutions that streamline product development, reduce overall design complexity and cost, and deliver a premium audio performance. The thing about Cirrus Logic, when I'm going and looking at all this audio equipment that I'll go and look at for guitarists, you see Cirrus Logic chips all over the place. The stereo A to D conversion on this one is based on multi-bit Delta Sigma architecture. It supports 24-bit conversion and sample rates up to 192 kilohertz, and if you looked at the software that we were looking at, I showed you that it went up to 192 kilohertz. It has a high-pass filter included for DC offset removal. You know, A to D, analog to digital, are some of the most important chips in there, and so are digital to analog. Always look out for decent chips that have been around maybe a little while. It's not the newest of chips, and I do know that there is a newer chip available these days called a CS5346 that you could put in its place really. It's a replacement, because what happens with a lot of these A to D chips and D to A chips is they become obsolete over a period of time and then fall back into, you've heard of leading edge chips, haven't you? Well, they fall into what's called a trailing edge chips, and then they fall off the cliff and you can't buy them anymore. Well, here we are, the CS4382A-CQZ, and this is a D2A converter or a DAC. It's an audio chip. It's 24-bit, 216K, and 48 LQFPs. So it's a well-heeled chip that's been around a while. And the thing about it is that, well, Cirrus Logic have also been around a while. I remember them back in the 80s when I was seeing Cirrus Logic product kicking around. When I was seeing Cirrus Logic product kicking around. The thing is, it's a complete 8-channel digital to analog system. This D to A system includes digital de-emphasis, 1 dB size volume control, a TARP channel mixing, selectable fast and slow digital interpolation filters, followed by an oversampled multi-bit delta sigma modulator, which includes mismatch shaping technology and eliminates distortion due to capacitive mismatch. Following that stage in multi-element switch capacitor stage and low-pass filters with differential analog outputs. Needless to say, this is a chip that is a very powerful chip. Scarily, they cost about $9 if you buy one. Anyway, let's move on to the next chip. Okay, the X-Fi Ultra DSP is really one of the core products of the entire device, and this makes the SX-Fi operational really in a big way. The amplifier is capable of up to 3 times gain with the support of high impedance headphones, and I noticed that it did support up to 600 ohms, and that's a pretty high impedance for anybody's standards. I mean, even in the studio here, our cans are like in the 300 ohm, nothing like 600 ohm. And you can get even the studio stuff running at 80 ohms, so, you know, it's not a necessity by any means, but that is the chip. It's a CUD SP600, and finding any information about it is really, really very difficult. It does pack a serious punch, and you won't find any information about this product really online, and neither could I. So, custom chip, very sorry, can't offer you more information except to say that if it's not a creative product, you're not getting the advantages of this chip. Don't ignore it.
And don't forget to subscribe and do the thumbs up and ring the bell. Click all of them on there and you'll be notified in the future when we do some more videos.
Yeah, we're doing them all the time. Covers a lot of music things and things like that, but this is music related, don't forget that. Okay, that was the last of the chips and the rest of it, and I hope that was all interesting. And yeah, what else is there to say about the insides? Well, nothing. So we're going to move on. You get some cables with this thing. You get the light pipe cable, which I did tell you earlier. And you also get this USB type, I think that's a type 8 or a type C.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Type A to type C.
Yeah, type A to type C. She thinks he knows more than me. Well, he might do. We just got to be careful. Anyway, he's going to be telling you about the next section, which is real fun. I think it's very suitable. Okay, well, moving on a little bit to the documentation, so that we can understand this product a bit more. Levi's got the idiot card, and that tells you all about the buttons and the lights and things like that. Tell them, Levi.
So, first of all, you've got the volume control knob, which is clearly the big knob there, and when that is lit up blue, you've got the playback volume. Red is the microphone volume, and then you can have either green, orange, or cyan for audio balance, and white is like low energy connection for Bluetooth.
Right.
The microphone control button, the LED off is just the mic input being off, and then red is the mic being on, and green would be audio balance being on.
Right.
The audio balance, it can be 3 different colours. It's the same button again.
Right.
Green is just on. Orange is an audio source. You've got Sound Blaster X4's SBDIF out endpoint. Yeah.
Right.
That'll be orange, and then the cyan colour would be the speakers instead. Apparently, the speaker's endpoint, it says. The mode button, which should be the one in the middle.
That one?
Yep, it should be, if it is off, that would be the EQ being off. The green would be the EQ for the SXFI, which is only available when the Super XFI is enabled. White is mode 1 for music listening. Purple would be mode 2 for movies, and blue would be mode 3 for footsteps enhancer if you're on your game or something.
Right.
Orange is the direct mode, press and hold, which I'm not really sure what that is. Maybe that's
Well,
the
we'll
EQ.
come back to it. Yeah.
The Super XFI button. The LED off would be the line out into the speaker. The green would be the headphones out on the Super XFI, and that would be on. And orange would be the headphones out and the Super XFI off.
Yeah, lots to remember.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that's important is that you've got to remember all them colours, and you'll get used to it later, of course, but initially they do provide the document so you can try and remember everything. And there is a lot to remember. I think it's a fair statement to make. To remember that, you're not just going to plug it in and, oh, let's go in. No. It's more a case of, well, what's this colour do, or what's that?
Or what mode you're going to be using it for,
yeah. Okay, I just want to draw your attention to some of the paperwork you do get with the X4. This is the sort of manual you get. It's one of these great big massive sheets with loads of information on it, but thankfully if you're English, the top part of it there shows you everything in English and the connections and all the sort of things that you could do. I have to say it's quite extensive what this thing can cover, and depends on what systems you've got and what you're trying to do. If you're a plain old gamer, it's rock and roll all the way. But of course there's far more to it than just playing games. You could do a load of stuff with this. Even in a studio it could be, well, it's got its place, I think. I haven't tried it yet. But no doubt we'll get there. So, yeah, interesting paperwork. But more importantly than the paperwork, let's throw that over there, is this other section here. Because they've got a number of applications that you can download onto your laptop or maybe onto even a Mac. I haven't tried that yet. Which will help you to control and set up the device and all that sort of good stuff in an easier way than sitting ploughing through a manual times 10. You don't want to be doing that, do you?
Oh.
No, it's all too much like work. Well, before we get to the software itself, which is an important aspect, very important with this device, I think, I'll just mention a few things that they've got on the box here regarding things like compatibility and that sort of stuff. If you look down here, it's talking about, because remember this, I don't know any more about this product than you. So all these things matter just as much to me as they would to you if you just bought one. Remember that. This is a genuine review, not some made up thing that somebody's sort of concocted. Anyway, this is what's covered regarding compatibility. The minimum system requirements for a Windows OS are Intel Core i3 or AMD equivalent, Intel AMD or 100% compatible motherboard, Microsoft Windows 10 version 1703, 3264-bit or higher, so that gets you Windows 11 boys in there, 4 gig of RAM, 4 gig of free hard disk space, USB 2 or USB 3 port. For a Mac OS, it's Mac OS 10.14 or higher, 4 gig of RAM, 4 gig of free hard disk space, pretty much the same, and USB 2 or USB 3 port. PS5, yes, it works with them. Firmware version 20.02-2.26.00.00.0.1 or later. I hope you've got that.
Typical Sony.
Yeah, the lunatics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sony, where have you been? Why don't you just say version 2? For the PS4, firmware version 5 or later, and an available USB port. All you gamers need to know all that stuff, I understand. A Nintendo Switch Yes, it supports one of them as well. Switch OS 5 or later. Available USB port in the docking mode, I might add. And a voice communications is title dependent. That's what it says. SmartComms kit and all the rest of it. SmartComms kit, Scout mode, Crystal voice and Sound Blaster acoustic engine features are currently available only on the Creative app for PC only, it says. That's if you're a Mac user.
So it also uses this Super X5 technology, which uses computational audio, which personalizes every person's headphone experience based on how you hear sound. And what it does is it gives you the most optimized and realistic listening experience that you can get out of any sound card.
Wow, sounds good. Now, the thing is, for you gamer types, there's a bit down here that is important for you. It says here, smarter communications and SmartComms kit and audio balance. And what that's about, basically, it says, I have to read it because I don't know it. It says, change the way you chat with SmartComms kits, suite of smart technologies that helps you simplify the way you communicate. You know, when you're in them games, yeah, you're all chatting, aren't you? At least I think that is what you're doing. You're making noises. Yeah. Anyway, the Sound Blaster X4 also features this audio balance, which allows you to find the perfect harmony between two audio sources, ideal for online calls while listening to music or podcasts at the same time. Well, I think that when it comes back to the games, you know, you're involved in it. It sort of relates to the balance there. Or at least that's how I understand it. I'm just a minion, of course. Back to you. You have another go.
And what it also says is improved connectivity for greater accessibility. And basically, it's got a load of ports. So you can connect to PC, Mac, PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch.
You name it.
Yeah, even probably all the Microsoft products as well.
Wow. Another thing they harp on about on this box down here is this detailed audio quality with pristine clarity. And they talk specifically about the DAC used, which we looked at earlier. And this is how important that DAC is for sound, in particular with games. And I think these ways start to fall into understanding more about the hardware being so important when you come back to some of these features and benefits. Okay, one last thing that I sort of gleaned off the paperwork on here is it says copyright 2021, Creative Technology Limited. And I think that this particular product's probably been around in this version, X4, probably since the end of 2021, or as we're now in 2022. Well, it makes sense to do that. So there it is. That's what they say about it. Super X5, Ultra DSP, Sound Blaster X4. So we're going to move on now and take a quick look at the software. Okay, this is just a general run through of showing you some of the software, not in any dangerous mode. And as you can see down here, we haven't really got anything connected. So let's have a look at what we've got. You've got this Super X5, and that insists on telling me that I have to use my phone. Now, when I have to use my phone to do anything like that, like this, as you'll see now on screen, that it's very, in my opinion, it's very intrusive into your personal details and information. And for that reason, I'm not going to actually demonstrate that today. I did do it, but I'm going to delete the account and I don't really want to do any of that. So I'm just going to run through some of these other things you've got here. You've got the device itself first at the top. There's the picture of the Sound Blaster X4, which is all good. We've got 2 or 3 other bits here. We've got one for playback, and it's saying, well, what are you connected to? I'm going to say headphones, and those are the headphones normally sitting down there. You can see you can test them. Well, I can't hear them, and neither can you because they're not plugged in, but I wouldn't worry about that. You can see we can change the speaker audio quality quite a bit, to some ridiculous figures. In fact, I wouldn't even use that in the studio, never mind. So when I'm looking at this, I'd like to see something like that one on my headphones, which are Beyerdynamic Pro headphones. You can buy, of course, Creative Labs headphones, but I don't use those in the studio because it's a studio. Okay, moving along a bit further, I can move to the recording side of things. Again, that's now flipped everything from what I can see to the same 24-bit 48. You can set the defaults and the rest. I'm just not going to change any of that, but you can see it's changeable. We've got some settings below that where if you do go off into the Sound Blaster stuff in depth, you can reset the device, you can update the firmware, which by the way we've done, because that's one of the first things you should do when you're using this equipment. When you get it online, get the latest software, make sure the firmware is up to date, and make sure the drivers are up to date. These over here, you can do it all from this app, so not too bad. You can flip from earphones to speakers if you want, but even in the studio I wouldn't flip to the speakers personally. We push it into the recording desk. Picture of the recording desks on the screen now. So yeah, we're very different than what some people are, but the fact is, at the end of the day, you could use this device in a studio for certain applications and special effects and things like that. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is run through a few of these applications that are sort of sitting down below here. You won't hear anything in the audio or anything like that. I'm just going to show you what's there and quick discussion. You can see in this acoustic engine that everything's turned off by default. You've got things like surround, crystallizer for the audio, bass, smart volumes, dialogue. I wouldn't use that myself, but there you go. But to turn them on and off, it's so simple. I mean, you could sort of turn 2 or 3 or all of them on or off, whatever you want to do. And that's going to the speakers. Oh, it won't have any effects when Super X-Fi is turned on. Can you see that? Okay, well, you'll notice down here that the green light's on SXFI. And when you've got the Super X-Fi turned on, you can't use these controls for headphones. You could use them, or not, you can't, for speakers. So what you need to do with this is make sure this is actually turned off, and then you can see these will darken up, and we can turn these things on or off in the acoustic engine. So when SXFI is turned on, you won't be able to use a lot of these features. Okay, we've got an equalizer. That's for the onboard stuff. And we've got these different modes that we can use. We can flip around, you can see them. Footsteps enhancer. Great if you're in games and things like that, you know. Not so much really for the sort of studio work that I cover. But nevertheless, in the games mode, of course, the guys will love it. Something else I didn't cover, which I ought to be showing you, is for the sound mode, we've got effects off. We can have gaming or music or movies or adventure and so on and so forth. Smart Comms Kit, we can turn that on or off quite simply, and we can have an advanced mode if we want it. I won't spend any time on that because, to be honest, it is what it is. It's just another feature, but it could be a useful feature to you. Crystal Voice clears up the audio, I believe, makes it nice and, well, crystal clear, that is. You can see it there. We can change these just as easy. I'm not going to, you get the idea. We've got a direct mode. If I turn that on, this gives you audio in its purest form directly from the source. All audio effects will not be applied to the output, so that in effect turns it all off. We've got another mode called a scout mode, designed to help you to hear beyond what you see, such as footsteps, speech and weaponry. Now, obviously it sounds to me more like a gaming mode, that does. And you gamer guys, you've got a lot to grasp, whereas somebody like me, I have far less to grasp because I probably personally wouldn't use that. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. We've got an encoder mode for no encoder or Dolby Digital. We can just turn that on or off if you want. There's a handy troubleshooter in case it doesn't work right for you. And we come down to the mixer. And the mixer, we can have speakers and the rest, and volumes. You see it here. Recording levels, all sorts of things. We can whip across the device too for a stereo mix or a SPDIF pass-through. Okay, well that's a bit of a slight overview of what's kicking around in this application. Clearly, you could never easily run through everything in a simple demo or a simple review, but you'll get the idea, I'm sure you will, from that. And of course, there's also the other aspect where when we're looking down at this device, these different lights change, and we mentioned those a little bit earlier, but I'm just going to go and close in a little bit closer so that you can get an idea of what I'm really talking about. Okay, I want to just show you the Sound Blaster X4 itself and these different colours. Well, I'm not getting through all of them because we spoke about them earlier, but I just want to show you what changes when you press a button type of thing, just so you got a basic idea, because a lot of the reviews don't sort of show you much about that. Well, if you look at this audio one, it's currently on red, and that's in microphone volume, so we can adjust the mic volume right here. But if I was to hit that, that's now changed to blue, and that's the playback volume. Now these colours can change dependent on other things as well. For example, if this one was white, then you'd be connected to the Bluetooth or the BLE connection. They're just examples. Moving along to the microphone control. On the actual button itself, as opposed to this knob at the top when this is selected. This button here with the LED off, well, that's the mic input is off. When it's red, the mic input is on. When it's green, there's an audio balance which is on. Just taking a quick look at the direct mode, this button here, you can see there's a number of colours, and we'll just flip through a few of them. You can see they change depending what mode you're in. All very simple, nice and easy to see the things going on, and these controls at the top are always doing the same old thing that they did, but you can see the modes that you're hopping through nice and easily. And there is one mode here, if you hold that down you'll find it's flipped to this colour here, which takes this to direct mode. Okay, and we can get back out of that by holding it just the same, and we can go back into the other modes. Okay, this is the SXFI button, or line out as well. There's green, and that's taking you to headphones out, Super X-Fi on. If you go to orange, the headphone out, Super X-Fi off. So, all very clever stuff. It's all easy enough to use, but it's a bit fiddly with some of the software, and as I said, the Super X-Fi isn't really for me, although you might love it. Now then, there's another thing that we ought to cover, which is very important to users, which is less important really, I guess, to the manufacturer. Although to be fair to the manufacturer, he's done better than some of them out there. And I'm talking about warranty. This says it's a limited warranty. If you want to try and even read this documentation, I'd have to go back to the opticians to, it's an impossibility to read. But I can tell you, cutting out all those hundreds and hundreds of lines, this has a 2-year warranty, and Creative should be commended for offering a 2-year warranty when a lot of people, a lot of companies out there these days are on 1 year. That matters. Oh, it doesn't matter to you, the viewer. Well, I can assure you, when you get to 13 months on a 1-year warranty product, it would matter to you. So warranty is important, and Creative get a 10 out of 10 score for the warranty.
But the warranty itself is 24 months in Europe. It's on its own.
In Europe.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what it is in the USA?
It's 12 months in the USA.
Uh-oh. Well, you heard it here first. I didn't read the USA bit, to be fair, and he's picked that up, which is great. So if you're somewhere else, well, maybe you'd look at warranty differently. So what we're going to do is do a bit of summing up now, and the likes and dislikes, or the pluses and the minuses, for want of a better phrase. And I'm going to start off with the likes, really. Looking at this device, I really like how it's been made. It's a quality device, of that there's no doubt. And I like the, I even like the piece of metal inside, because I can let you into a little secret. Some of the products that I make in a company where I work have pieces of lead inside, or something similar, that also weigh down the product to give it that feel of quality. Now, Creative could suggest that, well, it stops it moving around, and that is true. But when you pick this up, your first thought would be, in my opinion, of quality. And yeah, good on them. I think that's a great little addition that didn't really cost much, but it makes a lot of difference to the product when you're feeling it. I also like, because I always look inside everything I review, I also like the build quality internally, and the chips they've used, the Cirrus Logics and their own custom chip, which makes, it makes a lot of difference. And there's some products out there that really don't have much power, and that power limitation is very important. You don't want something that's not going to be able to do the job. I also like, for one at least, I also like the overall design of this and the simplicity of it, of choosing these buttons over and over for different effects, or turning them on or off, or different settings and that sort of thing. And of course the sort of big knob on here is really useful when you're trying to do other stuff. If you were playing a game, that's great. So I like the design of it as well. It's very robust, actually. It feels, I've seen some reviews about this product, so I thought I'd do a bit of research, where one guy said, oh, it's all flimsy. Far from it. This is not a flimsy product. This is a very, very well made product. Now I can tell you, to even get the back off was quite difficult. We even reverted to using guitar picks, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, I like that. It's a studio. Well, what else do I like? Is there anything left to like? Well, there's the sound quality itself, of course, that's so easily overlooked when you're doing a review that covers a lot of hardware and that sort of thing. Sound quality is very good. There's no doubt about that. Creative have been doing this stuff forever, and I'm telling you, if you need an external sound card, you'd be very, very hard pressed to buy something better than the likes of Creative. And I know that because I go back so far in the PC sector of business. I go back all the way to about 1982 or 1983 in the PC market. And of course, Creative Labs, as I used to know the name, was the world leader. It probably still is, and I don't need convincing that this is a good product, a good sound card. I paid over £200 for a plug-in card from these guys at one stage or another. So, great deal. No, the software itself it's quite a useful addition for this piece of hardware. And I'm not talking of just the SXFI part of it. Even without that, there are so many features that it makes it all good. And there aren't really that many devices around that offer all those features. So I thought that was nice. So is there anything else I really like? Well, I like the price as well. I've said that. So let's move on to a few things that we don't like that Levi's going to be mentioning now.
And well, one of the main things is probably the awkwardness of it, like in terms of software-wise, particularly with the SXFI sort of stuff.
Right.
And when we were downloading it, we were getting a lot of issues downloading it, and whether that's the computer, whether that's the software, we don't know, but it was a nightmare, to put it simply.
Well, I've never seen an application just download the main application And then when we went to download the SXFI, tell us that we weren't connected to the internet, but we were online. And it even allowed me to fill out the complaint form to Microsoft online, I might add, when it told me I wasn't online. So there was something funny. It's probably not creative. It's probably them boys in the background. You know the ones. The big M. Microsoft. Yeah. Oh. I think they're to blame. Don't you?
Yeah. It's not even like it was wireless neither. It was network. No, it was Ethernet.
It was wild. It was wild, wasn't it?
Wild, yeah.
Wild. Yeah.
Another thing, obviously, is the lack of cables supplied. Now, obviously, we have seen that there is one cable, but one cable's not really suitable in a way.
Well, they could be different ones for different people. Though.
Yeah. But it's like the 3.5 to 3.5. I mean, that would probably be a lot more useful.
For a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cost of one of those, where this is made, in China, would be literally cents. You could have thrown one of them in. So what's the price? Moving on from the likes and dislikes, I think we've covered most of them there. The likes obviously include the sound, like I said, and things like that. But the price, if you look at what's available on the marketplace, you'll always find cheaper or cheap, literally using the word cheap, products out there. That doesn't mean lower cost, that means cheap. I mean, you could open up some of them and you'll never find what's inside one of these from Creative. So that is quality. And you pay for quality. But the price on the street in the UK is about £129. And I think it's about $129 or something near there in the USA. And normally I have a lot of viewers from the USA. So that is important and it does matter. Oh, by the way, there is no mains power for this. It just works straight from the USB-C out of wherever you're connected to, which was great. I never did cover that, sorry. So for the price, I think it's great value. You don't really want to be spending, you could spend a little bit less and think you're doing better, but I don't think you would be. So price is good. Okay, so what about the overall score? Well, we've had a sit and chatted about this. It's not just my score today. It's a Tony Levi score. which does matter because people that watch these videos all the time do actually equate to that rating. If it's great, it's great. If it's not great, no matter what the score, you can rest with peace of mind that it is a pretty genuine score. It isn't rated on, oh, they gave us this or they didn't and we bought that or we this or we that. This has got an 8 out of 10 and we think it's worth that, but it's been penalised a little bit really because of some of that software and its usability. Everybody doesn't want to do that. You might say they do, but I think they don't. Some people don't. That's the overall review of the Sound Blaster X4 from Creative. I'll call them Creative Labs because it's stuck in my mind forever. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, do the thumbs up. Ring that bell and choose all. You'll see it'll be on the screen somewhere down here. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you again. Now get out of here. Okay, so this is Harvey, the game expert. And he's been playing for a while now on the Creative external card. What do you think, Harvey? Is it much better than it used to be?
It's the overall sound quality is better, and the overall footstep quality is better, and just the overall sound from the right to left ear.
It's just better.
Yeah.
So do you think it's good?
Yeah.
Think it's worth the money?
Better. Yeah.
Ah, right. And if he doesn't know, nobody knows. So what we're going to do now is he's going to have another go, and we'll do a bit of recording of the audio while he plays. You know what these guys are like, don't you?